Okay, I was wrong about this one. I was wrong. I told everybody not to get agitated and antsy if Derek Stingley didn't get a contract until around about August or so, because the Texans are tight-lipped about these things. They don't give any hints whether things are going well or going poorly. I think things have been going pretty damn well in the Texans' conversations with Derek Stingley. He signs a 3-year, $90 million extension, $30 million per year, the deal done by David Mulligetta. Oh, no, Mulligetta, we'll never get a deal done with Mulligetta. They got a deal done with Mulligetta. $89 million guaranteed. That's interesting because that's a boatload of money guaranteed. That is a lot like what we saw with Danielle Hunter, where Danielle Hunter's deal was almost completely guaranteed. A couple other little tidbits about this that are interesting. Not 100% sure on this, but they did pick up Derek Stingley's fifth-year option, so he would be under contract through the 2029 season. That apparently, according to Jeremy Fowler and others, looks like the way this is. So it's a 3-year extension, but you'd have him locked up through 2029. One important part of that, as it relates to the rest of the team, is that this won't affect the cap much at all this year. It's not going to hurt their ability to sign the rookies or sign other free agents or anything like that. My honestly, and my biggest feeling coming out of this is that regardless of just how incredibly large the numbers have gotten, Derek Stingley is the type of kid that you feel good about paying. That he does everything the right way. He is out there at practice during training camp, whether it's 99 degrees or not, for a half hour after every practice. He eschews the spotlight. He looks like he never wants to be interviewed, and not in a diva type of way. He just works his butt off. He is like Yoda in that he wants to be a complete master of the good side of the force. Except unlike Yoda, he's not yapping all the time, this, that, the other thing, philosophizing. He just wants to go out and play football. He doesn't need to, he doesn't have to act like he's got no ego, but meanwhile putting himself up there like Yoda. The performance this year, and why I said it was earned, is that you have to remember, in all of the interceptions he got, 5 in the regular season, 18 pass breakups. That was the second most pass breakups. Second lowest completion percentage among cornerbacks that had at least 200 coverage snaps. Opposing quarterbacks, when facing these teams, opposing quarterbacks had a passer rating under 5 when targeting Stingley. The Cowboys, a 3.5 passer rating. Jaguars, a 0.0 passer rating. The Buffalo Bills, with one Josh Allen, a 0.0 passer rating. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, 0.0 passer rating. The Dolphins game, he had those 2 picks. And the thing to remember about that is that in this entire season, for the most part, he was playing opposite of a rookie cornerback, which, when you think about the way it works with cornerbacks, once you've established yourself as a really good cover guy, teams don't want to target you. I think it's a testament in some respects to that rookie cornerback that they did still have to target Derek Stingley. But like when teams tested him, he came up with the ball and he came up big. So when it comes to, let's watch this one last pass breakup, the contract side of things. This is something that Nick Caserio has done, really going back to Laramie Tunsil, and I'll credit Laramie Tunsil for setting a good precedent on the team. Nick will be very, very happy to give you a shorter extension, a 3-year extension as opposed to a 4 or a 5-year deal. The 5-year deals are really going the way of the dodo bird. But as long as a player understands that, hey, all right, I'm getting a big wad of cash up front. If I play well, I'm going to be underpaid in a couple of years because that's the way it works as the cap keeps expanding. But it keeps you from being in all these positions where guys are holding out with 2 years left on their deal because they feel or they are drastically underpaid. I'm really cool with it. The inspiration for the thumbnail, by the way, just for let's take a trip down memory lane. Kids, if you ever hear your parents making a joke about they earned it, it's from Smith Barney.
Money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Yes, he earned it. So I feel good about this. The one downside are the injuries. And first thing anybody's going to bring up about this is that until this year, Derek Stingley hadn't been healthy for an entire season in the NFL. Just by way of illustration, he played 9 games his rookie year, played 11 games in 2023, and then he came out and was fine this year. The fact that a lot of his issues in the first couple of years were hamstrings, and that since then he seems to, he played all the games this year and all the playoff games. A lot of times that is something that you can tweak with your training, your recovery, all of those things. I played with Fred Taylor, who in his first few years in the NFL, really for a longer duration than Derek Stingley, had all kinds of injury issues. And Fred will tell you, he figured it out. He figured out how to handle his recovery. He figured out what he was doing in his workouts that maybe he had to tweak a little bit. And then Fred stayed really healthy and played a lot longer than anybody ever thought he would have. He ended up compiling some pretty impressive career stats because he was able to stay healthy later in his year. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that last year was proof in the pudding. That remember Carlos Correa? Carlos Correa had injury issues, back issues early on. He figured out a routine that worked for him, and then other than a run-in with a massage therapist here or there, he stayed healthy. That's not a Deshaun Watson joke, for those of you who don't follow baseball. Carlos Correa claimed that he had got his ribs broken by an overly aggressive massage therapist. None of us ever really quite believed it, but they were winning World Series and going to ALCSs every year, so nobody probed. The other part of the contract and why I feel good about with Derek Stingley, I'm just going to show you a couple clips here. First one from Landry Locker that, what's he say? The usual John Mechie and Derek Stingley work-study post-practice session going on. Tank Dell is a participant today. This was from this year's training camp, I believe. It's been a constant post-practice activity. And this wasn't just every now and then Derek Stingley, letting the coaches see that he's working hard or anything. He's out there every single day in training camp with a young receiver, an older receiver like Brandon Cooks. This one was from 2022. Sarge had pointed this out. I really think that Derek Stingley is the kind of guy that when he got the news today, I can't remember who I saw reporting this. He was at the LSU facility working out with the kids at LSU. I don't think he's going to plan a trip to Egypt all of a sudden that'll cause him to miss a mandatory team practice. So that part you feel good about. The other part with Nick Caserio and the timing is that, man, all eyes now are on Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is going to want a deal. He's probably want to higher than Derek Stingley Jr. If the Texans had reacted to Sauce Gardner's contract or whomever else might have gotten a contract, they probably would have ended up paying through the nose. So the timing of this makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you one thing, the difference between Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley right now, Stingley has been as effusive in his praise of the Texans culture, the guys that he's playing with on that defense, how much he loves being there. He did not try to play hardball in the media with this at all. From the end of the season, anytime you've seen Derek Stingley in the rare instances that he's been interviewed or that he actually tweeted or posted on Instagram, he was talking about how much he loves his teammates and how much he loves playing in that group. I think Sauce Gardner probably likes his teammates, but he's in that mode in the Jets where I love Aaron Glenn, and I think he's going to do a great job, but there's only so much any one coach can do to overcome the Jetsdom of that team. So good luck to the Jets. Aaron Glenn, I love you, and I wish the best for you in your contract negotiations with Sauce Gardner, but it'll be fun. The Egypt reference, that's a reference to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers last year, the reason that he missed the mandatory minicamp was that he had a pre-scheduled trip to Egypt that apparently he couldn't figure out a way to pay for the cancellation fees on that one. Let's see. Stingley feels sort of similar to Andre Johnson. Great talent, extremely hard worker, quiet, soft-spoken demeanor, and leads by example. 100% agree. And that's why I feel good about it. As cynical as anybody might get about the incredible amounts of money that players get paid these days, Stingley's the kind of guy that would have worked the exact same way back when guys were making $35,000 a year. He beats himself up over his missed interceptions from last year. His ball skills and his cover skills are incredible. He really, he said on the pivot, I had 7 interceptions, including the postseason, but I should have had 12 or 13. And with his ball skills and his hands and everything, I think that there's still room for statistical improvement. The other part, when you think back to Derek Stingley coming out, people had questions about his relationship with his father just because they're super close and his dad coaches him and is involved. And I think it was rooted more in just when you see a relationship like that, it can be really good, like with Earl Woods, or it can be really bad, like with Todd Marinovich's dad. So somewhere in between. You can have Jennifer Capriati, or you can have the Williams sisters. And I think that with Derek Stingley, it's much more on the Earl Woods and Williams sister side of things. So it's really cool to watch the interview on the pivot with those two and see the relationship they have. It was pretty cool. See, we got to remember these teams are getting another huge bump in cap space, so the money won't really matter later on. That is a part of, and to reiterate, this won't affect the cap adversely this year. Perhaps not next year, depending on how they're handling that 5th-year option that they triggered before this extension. So I don't know exactly 100% how the year 2028 and 2029 are. But you get ahead of it now. The Jerry Jones strategy, which is the exact opposite of the way the Texans handled this, is to just sit around and wait and see and say, well, these prices sure keep going up. They can't possibly keep going up, can they? We're not going to pay Dak Prescott. Damn it. Now we got to pay Dak Prescott like 20 or 30 million more. So you get out in front of it, and it makes a lot of sense. So please like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff, and enjoy Derek Stingley Day. And hopefully, as it tends to happen these days, I live stream, and in the middle of a live stream, some kind of transaction takes place with the Texans. So here we go.